I had one sort of gem that I would say, there are certain things you can teach and there are certain things you can't. And know what you can't teach before you go into interview. You can't actually teach culture. They either get it or they don't. You either gel or you don't.
Yes.
In my experience, if you gel, you can teach most other things, right? Like if you feel that they get you and they get the business and they get the values of the business, most of the rest will fall into place.
Yes.
In my experience.
I love that, because you're right. You can't like jump on a call and be like, here's the process I've made for how to interact with me and just be a good human. But you can teach someone to follow a process when it comes to basically anything else.
Correct. So provided that obviously in the shortlisting or HR or however you're recruiting, once you know what you want and you've got your, KPIs and you've done that part properly, then once you are in the interview and you're the boss, so it's up to you. It's not up to your HR consultant and it's not up to your recruitment manager. It's depending on how big you are. It's up to you.
Yes.
If you sit there and your gut is they are not the right fit, and I've had that a couple of times, and I'm sure you have too. But for whatever reason, you're like, but I gotta hire someone because I gotta sort this now. In my experience, that doesn't go well, and it's a lot of time and it's a lot of money down the drain.
Oh my God. Yes.
Right?
Totally.
When you sit there, I mean, like one of the people that and I never like saying they work for me, they work with me. I mean, they would say I'm their boss, but I don't use that terminology with them.
Yeah.
But one of the people actually that works with me as our NDIS coordinator, she applied for a different job. And I interviewed her for that. She was shortlisted and I interviewed her. And she got off the phone and I said to the person at the time who was doing recruitment with me, I said, this job's not for her, but I really like her. And I'm going to design something for her.
Wow.
Because there was another project that I knew was about to start.
Yeah.
And I knew that that particular project was going to need admin of its own. And I said she would be perfect for that. And like, she is. Trained her up. She now is probably better you'd want her in an NDIS meeting rather than me.
Yeah.
I mean, like I taught it to her, but her advocacy, her patience, she's probably nicer than me. Because I think when you're a business owner, you've got to be tough.
Yeah.
On a level, at least, you've got to be tough. So that's what I mean. Like I saw something in her. I'm not saying I've always got it right, but I saw something in her. And it's worked.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's so cool. And I just could not agree more with your comment about trusting your gut. You're so right. Every time I've had somebody that hasn't worked out, I knew it. I knew I shouldn't have hired them. Right. But yeah, you kind of go,
and you've almost like been trying to convince yourself.
Yes.
And it's all gonna it's just that they're new. It's just that I didn't train them properly. But actually, this was probably never a go from day one.
Oh, I know. It's so true. I love it. I love it. So tell me as well. So you mentioned, so really when you started taking the business, I guess more seriously was when it had that explosion.
Yeah.
What caused that? How did it explode? What happened? Did you do anything specific or was it just time?
So don't really know. I think the chronology went something like this. In September 2020, I had my little girl and I didn't take maternity leave, which was my choice. I didn't want to. My husband was taking paternity leave and I, at that time, was doing my practice, but I had a very big client who were kind of sort of 50% of my week. But I just got to the point with that particular client that I'm like, actually, I don't want to be working for them anymore. If you bring this up with my husband, he'll be like, it was the
You can confirm.
So with like a 3-month-old baby, I handed in my notice. So financial security
out the window.
Out the window. And then sort of I just was like, okay, let's kind of see what happens. And that organization has been so lovely, and I'm still involved with them, and I still do stuff for them. I just couldn't take being there to that amount of time. And so when she was about 5 months old, I left. I worked out my notice and I left. And then I sort of was doing it all on my own. And I guess it's that thing of like, if you build it, they will come, I think is part of what's happened. I think then I sort of was building it. And by kind of June sort of time, I was getting to a point where the admin, I was like, I'm only one person. I can't do all of this. And also by then she was a little bit older, and I did, you know, I had one afternoon that I had her and whatever else before she went to childcare. And so that happened, and I took someone on who's amazing, and although isn't working for me in that capacity anymore, is still like our consultant for our practice management software, and is still, you know, she knows the business well, so she guides me on lots of different things. Very grateful. And then I think word of mouth is a wonderful thing. Yes. And so as people started to know me or know friends that had used me, they would come in. I think the NDIS, there is just so much, and obviously we're in the middle of a review now, and I'll keep very quiet on that, but suffice to say, I think there is so much that goes on where people are not treated fairly, and are not just by the NDIS, but by service providers also, that they've had a bad experience. And so to find someone that actually is decent, and it's actually, they're in it for you, they're in it, and it's not just about the goals that are written on your NDIS plan or your sheet of paper, but they actually want to get you what you need, rather than, I think those providers are rare. And I think I'm very much like a, you know, I always said if I was a politician, I'd be a conviction politician. Like I won't advocate for things that I don't believe to be the right thing. And I think authenticity takes you a long way. So I think the growth in the NDIS has helped me. I think the fact that I've done, you know, my strapline is I built the business one coffee at a time, and I literally did. I made it my business.